doing it correctly the first time. It's kind of late, so I'm gonna make this super quick. Let's talk about how the day went. Goodness, where do I even start? Today was a fine day. So one big problem. I have some challenges with hesitation. All right, let's talk about that for a second here. This is ES. Where's the C? Right there, the ES. So, right off the open, here, 9:30. I'm looking at. Let's quickly go clean that up. Looking at this here, we got this rejection of 4,500 on ES, and the last time we were at this level was Wednesday or Thursday. So, it was somewhat significant that through Sunday we made this big push up here and then rejected. So looking at that in the pre-market, but what was more significant was here and here. We were holding this area in the pre-market. And so I was thinking we might end up with a situation where we chop sideways. Now, recently the markets had follow through again. That's nice. If you've been trading recently, or if you were trading last month, like July, for example, there's not a lot of follow through till the end of the month. So a big mistake I had made, I was talking about this earlier with some friends. I like to come into the market and remind myself to have no bias, right? So let's keep in mind that we can't see any of this stuff. None of this stuff over here exists yet. So coming into the market, reminding myself to have no bias. We're seeing that buyers are holding here, sellers are holding here. This is a range. This is a very clearly defined range. And this range is pretty narrow for ES. It was $5.33. So coming into it, sitting there waiting for an entry, right? I believe the entry would come. I think I just hit the wrong button. What's going on here? Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. This is the worst. What have I done? Hold on. I can fix this. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. Fixed it. It might not have been broken in the first place. So I saw this come up on the ES. And the reason I like this is because we were previously, let's get some lines up here. Sellers were holding us here, right? And buyers were holding us here. So what we see is, or what I saw, is you have this upper consolidation, right? So you have a situation where the consolidation was even lower, right down in this area, pulled back, tried to go higher, put in a potential higher low here, and then it went higher. But then it consolidated out here, right? And then you get this kind of aggressive flush. Oops, wrong button again, sorry. You get this kind of aggressive flush down this way. But then the buyers held again. And when they came up, so the rejection consolidated here, and it pushed back with about equal force. Now this is a 2000 tick chart, so we don't really get this historic volume down here. But what I saw was we put in a very slight higher high. But what was more significant is when we pulled back, and it was about a 50% retracement if you're looking at the rest of this. So we got this here. So you can see that this consolidation here was kind of consolidating in the upper part of this range. We break this into thirds. And then we get this little pivot right here. And I liked this. And I said to myself, you should take that. Let's get rid of that. Here's the problem. I didn't, because I had inadvertently convinced myself of a short bias without meaning to. Because I saw this here, and I was thinking, oh, we could get rejected off of that. We could get rejected off this. The long and short of it is, the market can do whatever it wants at any time. I just realized, sorry. Just realized my microphone might have been muted this whole time, which I've done before. But no, we came into this here. I saw this lower high, and I thought about taking it. Now, this would have been a high risk because the market overall has been in a downtrend, but I thought it was very significant that buyers were holding here, and then we started to get just a little glimmer right here and right here of a trend change, because we failed to go lower, right? If this push, goodness, sorry, now we're just messy here. Let me clean this up. If this push after, excuse me, this consolidation and rejection, put in this here, this would be a lower low, consolidated, and we broke back above. So if we had held here, or made a 50% retracement to this area, and then pulled down, you'd be expecting a situation where you're going to get a potential lower low. But the buyers stepped up here, and then we got this ever so slight, and I say ever so slight because remember, we're still in a range here, right? So we get this ever so slight, well, let's just do that. Right here, see it? It's a tiny little higher low. Of course, we don't know that at the time. So I saw that, and I was like, this is an opportunity to try a long. It's a high risk long, don't get me wrong. It's high risk because we could just as easily reject here, or we could possibly even just come right back here and get a flush down here. But I liked what the SPX was doing, and I liked what the 5-minute SPY, well, this 5-minute SPY actually was a little bit confusing. So the problem is that I don't know what button to press. There we go. The problem is that I saw this, and I did nothing. And I did nothing here, and I did nothing here, and I did nothing here, and I actually did do something up here. Well, not here, actually here. So, hesitation killed me. The moral of the story here is you don't know. Nobody knows what the market's going to do. So I had enough conviction about this that I thought we were going to be able to get a move, and I realistically probably would have been looking at about here. Why? Because maybe up here in this area. You just never know. But all that to say, I had conviction about that higher low. As rangy as it was, to me it was just signaling that we were going to try and get out of this range, and ultimately that's exactly what happened. But I didn't take any because I had inadvertently, with all my thoughts of longer term downtrends and lines and consolidations and ranges, I had convinced myself that we were going to reject, and so I was just nervous. I didn't want to be wrong, didn't want to lose, didn't want to put risk on for this. So there's a big part of me that had conviction about it, but the conviction was overruled by my fear of getting rejected here, or the fear of the overall trend. And that's kind of crummy, because really the only certainty that you have in the market is that you're going to lose money. The only certainty that you have in a trade is that you're going to get stopped out. That's it. Everything else is hypothetical. So I was, at least on paper, in my head, willing to try this, and it wouldn't have been I wouldn't have put on risk for it. But so let's talk about that. That's what I didn't do well today, and I missed all of this. And oops, let's just see. I'm probably get it right here. Yeah, that's nice. $2.57 or so cents on the SPY. Okay, so there's that. Now let's take a look at this one. This one, or is it this Okay. So, after I watched all of this money run off without me, we came up into this area, and we pulled down. Should really be using my nice fancy arrows for this. It's using the nice fancy arrows. That's what they're there for. After all this money was left on the table, and oh my word, money table. Okay, it was significant that we came back up here, right? So there was a decent probability of getting a rejection here, and that's what I was looking at. But I missed this. I don't really like trying to catch tops and bottoms. I'm trying to get better at it, but let me just throw a line right here real quick. And throw another line right here at 90. Okay. So I had a friend who took this, and good for him. I took this one. Oh, I did it again. The nice fancy arrows. Let's just, don't tell anybody. Just clean that up real quick. We can never even have it. Look at that nice fancy arrow. So I took that. And it was not a big move at all. When it was all said and done, it came in, and I really should have added here. But when I saw this candle, and don't get me wrong, all of this was a little bit of a struggle. I wanted 44.90 out of this. But I realized as this move was starting to slow and we were coming into these, this area here, this pivot, this was a lot of chop over here, there was a higher, this pivot over here, I started to lose confidence that this move was going to continue lower, even to 44.90. And so when this green bar right here, can't make that any tighter, when that little green bar there popped up, I actually just closed it. So I made a little bit. So what am I saying here? Trading hesitation cost me all of this, and I kind of pulled it together and took this. But even still, I had hesitation, and then my earlier hesitation in the day caused me frustration, and that frustration led me to just, kind of throw in the towel. Now my session, what's that, Eastern time? What time is this? I get really confused by what time this. I'm on Central, and anyway. So I believe that this would have been a little confused about a great many things. But anyways, this is about where my session ended. I only really stick around until about 11 Central. So there's that. Now let me talk about one more thing. This is going longer than I meant for it, but I came back later in the day. I can't always do that with my schedule, but I came back. And I came back into this. And when I saw, oh man, goodness gracious, I just, I'm going to blame it on being late, it being late. When I saw this, I sat here for probably 10 minutes and said, I do not want to sit here through chop. And what happened? Yep, it kind of broke out of the range. Now, again, in hindsight, it's very easy to say, oh, look at all the money I would have made. It was okay. There's nothing wrong with just deciding not to stay here, but it is kind of ironic that, I came back, oops, arrow, I came back to catch, to see if the later day did anything, and you got this chop here, it wasn't really doing anything, but this is really the same thing that was happening earlier in the day, right? You kind of have the chop, and then you get that little higher high. It's the same exact thing that happened down here, right? Just maybe not quite the same, but it's just kind of ironic. This actually, well, nobody can see that because now I've scribbled all over this. This would have been a valid entry. Actually, would have been a great trade. Maybe a little bit high risk because of these pivots here, but honestly, I think that would have been alright. Anyway, it was just a weird day. The last thing we've got to do... Wow, I just did wrong buttons. I spotted this pattern earlier, so we're going to do this thing here where we're going to talk about... Check it out. It's right here. And it was, of course... Yep. You know it. Super good at drawing. Look at that. It was... Oh, man, I'm even worse at drawing than I thought. Got some eyeballs here. This is the worst. This is just horrible. Look at that. It's a Golbat pattern right there. Golbat pattern. Anyway, it's just a thing I like to do. You know, find patterns on the chart. Draw little doodles on them. I do that to remind myself that our minds will make up patterns. Our minds will see things that aren't there. And, you know, draw a little Pokemon in there. It's a good reminder of that. So thank you for hanging out with me. It's a little late. We're gonna call it quits here. And tomorrow's another day. Give it a try tomorrow. And I have to disable this so I can stop the stream. Alright, here we go.